welcome back to Actual English. I'm Jennifer Clyde. It's time for lesson 283, and today's topic is street food. We're continuing on with the category of Korean food, and today let's specifically talk about street food. So, what is street food? It's a type of food, or types of food rather, that you will most likely find on the streets, at street vendors perhaps. So let's say, for example, if you go to really busy areas such as Gangnam Station in Seoul, or even if you go to the Hongik University area, you will see a lot of street vendors, like these tent bars, as we also call them, on the streets. And some very common Korean street foods may be things such as, I guess, fried squid, as we call them, twigim in Korean, or different kinds of fried foods. What about tteokbokki? That's also a type of street food. There's bandegi and much, much more. So let's talk about street foods of Korea. Let's begin with Actual Talk.
I just got back from a trip home, and food trucks are all the rage now. It's like the hip new thing, yeah. And even like some fancier restaurants have food trucks, and they have more casual items off their menu that are offered from the food truck menu.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. When was the last time you were home?
I was home about a month ago in London. Like, street food in London was not a big thing. Like, you'd have late night street food like hot dogs and hamburgers for people who'd been clubbing and revelers and things like that. They wouldn't really care about the taste. You know?
They were just hungry.
Exactly. So it wasn't really refined. But these days they have food markets, which I guess is still street food because there's lots of stalls selling all these hip new items. Korean food is getting more popular in the UK as well.
Everywhere. I think globally it's becoming more popular.
Yeah. And it's really good because it's cheap and easy and approachable. Like lots of the Korean food in the UK at the moment is like fusion galbi burgers and things like that, and some tacos made with kimchi and whatnot.
Oh, yum.
Yeah, and it is really good, and it gets people like aware of what Korean food is all
about.
Right. You know?
I think people have a pretty big curiosity about Korea and Korea's culture right now with K-pop and everything.
Yeah.
So food is a good way to explore that.
Yeah.
How about in Korea? What's your favorite street food in Korea?
Oh, I've got to say, without that, it's tteokbokki and tigim, so the fried foods with the spicy rice cakes. You dip it in there. That's also good after drinking, but not
don't get it on
well.
your clothes.
No way.
Because it will not come out.
What about you? What's your favorite street food here?
I don't know. I like the fried foods, usually late at night when I'm not so worried about my health.
Sure.
But yeah, how about the, what is it called? Larva?
Bandegi.
Yes.
The silkworm larva.
Not a fan of that.
I steer clear of that as well. I tried it once. It's interesting.
I've never tried it. I've smelled it, and that was kind of enough for me.
That is enough as well. Yeah.
Okay, welcome back everyone. Did you take a careful listen to Actual Talk? Today we had Mary and Peter talking about the different types of street foods you will find in Korea. They did mention a few, but towards the very end of the conversation, now Peter and Mary, they mentioned that they both don't like a particular type of street food, which happens to be bandegi. I'm not exactly a huge fan of it either, but I've seen plenty of people, including foreigners or foreign visitors that come to Korea, that fall in love with it. Okay, let's take a look at the conversation together then. Here we go. First of all, Mary says, I just got back from a trip home, and food trucks are all the rage now. So let's take a look at the first sentence, the first line. I just got back from somewhere. Means I returned from. So she's saying that she went home, to her home country, and just returned to Korea. And at home, in her home country, food trucks that sell food are all the rage now. Here is our first pattern for the day. All the rage, all the rage. If you say that something is all the rage right now, you're saying that it is currently, at this very moment, very, very popular. It's fashionable. It's stylish. It's very popular right now, meaning it's all the rage. It's all the rage right now. So she's saying that food trucks are all the rage now in her home country, meaning that you will see many food trucks here and there. They are very, very popular at the moment. It's the new hip thing, she says. Hip is a vocab word. Hip is just another casual word for cool, okay? We're talking about the latest, the most stylish, okay? The most advanced, perhaps, in some situations. So if you say that, something is hip, you're saying that it is the latest, okay? It's quite cool. So it's the new hip thing. It's the new popular thing. It's the new cool thing right now. It's happening. Food trucks, he asks. Mary says, yeah, even some fancier restaurants have food trucks. I see. So she's talking about how some restaurants even, normal, regular restaurants, have plus food trucks. So these restaurants also have food trucks and they have more casual items off the menu that are offered from the food truck menu. Okay, let's break this up into two parts. Taking it from here, they have more casual items. Casual items? We're talking about types of food. We're talking about menus, right? Things to eat. Foods that the restaurant or the food trucks offer. So in this case, casual items, we're talking about random items, items or menus that aren't always on the menu. Random, occasional, okay? That's what we mean by casual items. Off the menu that are offered from the food truck menu. Usually if you say that something is off the menu, you're saying that it is not listed on the menu. So it's something that's not on the menu. Sometimes you can go to a restaurant and take a look at the menu and you can't really find what you like. Okay, you may sometimes ask, is this all you have? Do you have anything else? For example, French fries? Now, the restaurant owner may say, no, we don't have fries. We only serve what is on the menu. In that case, they only have what is listed on the menu. But if the waiter or the waitress, the server, or the restaurant owner says, yes, we do have fries. Okay, they're off the menu, they're not on the menu, but yes, we do have fries. In that case, it means that you can order something off the menu, something that is not on the menu. Okay, so basically she's saying that there are restaurants that also have food trucks, and at these food trucks, you will find casual items, meaning things that you will not find on the menu, random menus off the menu. Well, here we go. Peter says that's brilliant. Now, Mary says, when was the last time you were home? Home in this case, once again, as you all know, we're talking about one's home country. Okay, so in this case, we know Peter is from the UK. So she's asking, when was the last time you were in the UK, your home country? He says, I was home about a month ago in London. So here we go. He went to London about a month ago. Street food in London was not a big thing. Okay, let's take a look at this. Big. Remember, we went over this several times. If you say street food is big in London, street food is big in Korea. What does big mean in that case? Big in that case means very popular. Okay, it's big, means very popular. But he says street food in London was not a big thing, meaning it wasn't really popular. Okay, I couldn't really find a lot of street foods in London. You'd have late night street food. Late night meaning street foods usually sold late at night, like hot dogs and hamburgers. Why? For people who'd been clubbing and revelers. I see. So they do have late night street food. For example, he's saying if you walk the streets late at night, you will occasionally see street foods sold, such as hot dogs and hamburgers. But these snack foods are sold to who? Mostly people who had been clubbing all night or revelers. Reveler is a vocab word for today. A reveler is basically a person, or plural, revelers may be people who like to enjoy nightlife, for example. They like the liveliness and the busyness. People that really love to hang out, especially people that may like going clubbing, for example. Especially having a few drinks. So if you enjoy nightlife, if you enjoy the craziness, you may call yourself a reveler as well, okay? Now, he says they wouldn't really care about the taste. They, in this case, we're talking about people that have been clubbing or revelers. Yeah, they wouldn't really care about the taste. So taste, to these people that have been clubbing and revelers, it's not very important. They're just hungry, right? And Mary says, right, they were just hungry. Hungry from partying all night. Here we go, Peter says, exactly. So it wasn't really refined. Here we go with another vocab word. If you say that something is refined, usually you're saying that it is polished. It's nice and neat. So, he says, it wasn't really refined, but these days they have food markets. Now we're talking about food markets, which I guess is still street food. That's right, because at food markets, you will find vendors, people that sell, simple foods, such as street foods. Here we go. Korean food is getting more popular in the UK as well. Wow, so Korean food is getting more popular. It's getting more popular. He's saying it is popular, but it's getting more and more popular with time. We're in the UK, which is a wonderful thing. Now, Mary says everywhere. I think globally, all around the world, it's becoming more popular. Yeah, and it's really good because it's cheap and easy and approachable. Approachable is just another word for accessible. Okay, if you say that something is approachable, you're saying that it is accessible, easy to access, easy to get your hands on, easy to find, easy to understand, okay, easy to reach, for example. So he's simply saying Korean food is really good. It's getting more and more popular everywhere. First of all, it's cheap. It's good, meaning it's delicious, and it's approachable. People don't say, I don't want to try it. They easily say, okay, looks pretty good. Let me try it. So it's approachable, and you can find Korean street food almost everywhere, all right? Lots of the Korean food in the UK is fusion. Aha! In the UK, lots of the Korean food is fusion. You all know what fusion is, right? It's like a combination of one or two things, usually combo of two things, okay? So, he says galbi burgers and some tacos made with kimchi and whatnot. Interesting. So burgers that have galbi inside and tacos that have kimchi inside. And there he goes. I think people have a pretty big curiosity about Korea and Korea's culture right now. Okay, curiosity you all know, right? Okay, the state of being curious. So people are really curious about Korea and Korea's culture right now. Why? She explains. Because of K-pop and everything, with K-pop and everything. So there's K-pop, Korean music, Korean dramas, Korean movies. So the world is interested in Korea and our culture. She says food is a good way. It's a good way to explore that. It's a good way to find out all about that country, about Korea. And then she asks, what's your favorite street food in Korea? So let's ask Peter what his favorite street food in Korea is. He says, I've got to say, without a doubt. Without a doubt means what? 100%. It's tteokbokki and 튀김, the fried foods with the spicy rice cakes. You dip it in there. Dip it in. Okay? He's saying what? What do you dip in what? Okay, first of all, he says his favorite kinds of street food are 떡볶이 and 튀김. And he explains, fried foods, we're talking about 튀김, with the spicy rice cakes. Spicy rice cakes would be 떡볶이, right? Okay, so we've got 떡볶이 here and 튀김, fried foods. And then he says you dip it in there. So you would dip the fried foods in the spicy 떡볶이 sauce. What about you? What's your favorite street food here? He asks. Now, what does Mary say? She says, I don't know. I like the fried foods, so she likes 튀김. Usually late at night when I'm not so worried about my health. All right, what does she mean by this? Usually late at night. So she's saying she does enjoy street food such as 떡볶이, especially 튀김 fried foods, usually late at night. Why or especially when? She says, when I'm not so worried about my health. This is just a way of implying that fried foods aren't the best, aren't the healthiest foods for you. So she's saying, you know, when I don't really think about my health, I do have fried foods occasionally. How about what is it called? She asks. The larvae, she says. Here we go, larvae. Larvae is the plural form of larva. L-A-R-V-A. Okay. Larvae, larvae. There are many ways to pronounce it, but this word's singular form is larva. L-A-R-V-A. He's talking about 번데기. Okay, they're talking about 번데기 because Peter says the silkworm larvae. But larva or larvae is basically, it's an insect. It's at the phase when it develops from an egg. So it's hatched from its egg, but it has not become an adult yet. It's in the middle process. Just think of 번데기 if that's difficult. Yes, but you will see that word a lot, especially when you talk about insects, such as butterflies, even caterpillars, okay, things like that. Anyhow, he says, do you mean 번데기, the silkworm larvae? She says, not a fan of that. She meant to say, I am not a fan of 번데기, but she simplifies it and says, not a fan of that. Not a fan of that, meaning 번데기. I am not a fan of 번데기, meaning I don't really like 번데기. Now, Peter says, I steer clear of that as well. I steer clear of 번데기 as well. I tried it once. It's interesting, he says. Now, let's take a look at steer clear of something. To steer clear means to avoid, to stay away from something. So he's saying he's tried it once, but he tries not to get near it, meaning he doesn't like it very much. Now, Mary also says that she's never tried it. She smelt it, and that was enough for me, she says, meaning she didn't really like the smell of 번데기 either. Okay, well, time has passed. Let's quickly listen to it one more time.
I just got back from a trip home, and food trucks are all the rage now. It's like the hip new thing, yeah. And even like some fancier restaurants have food trucks, and they have more casual items off their menu that are offered from the food truck menu.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, when was the last time you were home?
I was home about a month ago in London. Like, street food in London was not a big thing. Like, you'd have late night street food like hot dogs and hamburgers for people who'd been clubbing and revelers and things like that. They wouldn't really care about the taste. You know?
They were just hungry.
Exactly. So it wasn't really refined. But these days they have food markets, which I guess is still street food because there's lots of stalls selling all these hip new items. Korean food is getting more popular in the UK as well.
Everywhere. I think globally it's becoming more popular.
Yeah, yeah. And it's really good because it's cheap and easy and approachable. Like lots of the Korean food in the UK at the moment is like fusion galbi burgers and things like that, and some tacos made with kimchi and whatnot.
Oh, yum.
Yeah, and it is really good, and it gets people like aware of what Korean food is all
about.
Right. You know?
I think people have a pretty big curiosity about Korea and Korea's culture right now with K-pop and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
So food is a good way to explore that.
Yeah.
How about in Korea? What's your favorite street food in Korea?
Oh, I've got to say, without that, it's tteokbokki and tigim, so the fried foods with the spicy rice cakes. You dip it in there. That's also good after drinking, but not
don't get it
as
on
well.
your clothes.
No way.
Because it will not come out.
What about you? What's your favorite street food here?
I don't know. I like the fried foods, usually late at night when I'm not so worried about my health.
Sure.
But yeah, how about the, what is it called? Larva?
Bandegi.
Yes.
The silkworm larva.
Not a fan of that.
I steer clear of that as well. I tried it once. It's interesting.
I've never tried it. I've smelled it, and that was kind of enough for me.
That is enough as well. Yeah.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Are you ready for today's actual expressions? Here are today's vocab words. Let's take a look at them first. We've got hip. Very simple to pronounce. Hip, as you see. Some other words are chic, contemporary, cool, as I said. So something that has to do with the latest styles, the latest developments could be called hip or described as hip. Casual means temporary, occasional, even random, as I said. Reveler, here we go. Stress goes on the first syllable, reveler, reveler. We're talking about partygoers, people that love to party, go to clubs, drink, hang out with a lot of people, okay? So if you are one of those people, a partygoer, yeah, you're also a reveler. Here we go, refined. If something is refined, it is cultured or polished, nice and neat. Approachable. Here we go. Approachable. One more time. Approachable means convenient, attainable, or even accessible. Moving on to all the rage. All the rage. If you say something is all the rage right now, it means it is very popular, stylish, fashionable right now. Here we go. Wearing a cape instead of a jacket is all the rage these days. So what are we saying? We're saying wearing a jacket is very popular these days. Wearing a jacket is all the rage these days. Off the menu. If something is off the menu, it is not listed on the menu. Here we go. The cafe down the street has really good off-the-menu beverages. Okay. So they do have beverages that aren't exactly on the menu, but they have tons of beverages that are also not on the menu. And here we go. Steer clear means to avoid something, to stay away from something. You should steer clear of Amy. You should stay away from Amy. Why? She just broke up with her boyfriend today, meaning she's not in a good mood. Stay away from her. Steer clear of Amy. All right, everyone, job well done.
I love Korean street food, and it's one of my favorite things to do here. And a big difference to the UK. In the UK, we do have street food, and everyone says fish and chips and things like that. But we do have other things, but it's not on the same scale as in Korea. And I love just walking into the old markets here and being able to just grab something on the side. And it seems to be completely inundated with different types of food, and I absolutely adore it. There's lots of different sorts of food here. You've got sort of the pancake bindedok style, you've got tteokbokki, you've got things on skewers, lots of meat dishes, and then you have your traditional Korean foods which you can get in the markets and things like that. I think the choice here is really fantastic, and you know, for someone like me from Britain, I feel spoiled for choice when I come here.
And now it's time for actual story. We just had Eugene B helping us out. He's mentioned something about fish and chips in the UK and how he really enjoys all the delicious types of street food you will find in Korea. Okay, he's one lucky guy, he says. Here we go. He says, it's not on the same scale as in Korea. Now he's making a comparison. Street food in the UK, okay, with street food in Korea. So it's not on the same scale, meaning it's different, okay? The weight is different, meaning there's a lot more, many more types of street food in Korea compared to the UK. I love just walking to the old markets here and being able to just grab something on the side. Grab means what? Grab means to take, okay? Just grab something, pick up something, buy something, or even eat something on the side. Basically, he's saying on the side, enjoy a very quick meal like a snack while he's walking through the market, not exactly sitting down at a table to enjoy a full meal. And then it seems to be completely inundated with different types of food. We're talking about different types of food, many different types of food. But what is this word? It means overwhelmed, overflow, just plenty, okay? The markets seem to be completely full of different types of food is exactly what he's saying. And finally, I feel spoiled for choice when I come here. Spoil. You've heard of this expression, for example, oh, that girl is spoiled. You're spoiled. Don't spoil your children. Now, he's saying, I feel spoiled for choice when I come here, basically meaning that when he comes here, goes to the market, he feels like he has such a large variety of things to choose from to eat. So, in other words, he's just saying he feels very lucky. Okay, everyone, take a listen one more time.
I love Korean street food, and it's one of my favorite things to do here. And a big difference to the UK. In the UK, we do have street food, and everyone says fish and chips and things like that. But we do have other things, but it's not on the same scale as in Korea. And I love just walking into the old markets here and being able to just grab something on the side. And it seems to be completely inundated with different types of food, and I absolutely adore it. There's lots of different sorts of food here. You've got sort of the pancake bindedok style, you've got tteokbokki, you've got things on skewers, lots of meat dishes, and then you have your traditional Korean foods which you can get in the markets and things like that. I think the choice here is really fantastic. And you know, for someone like me from Britain, I feel spoiled for choice when I come here.
Well, just talking about the delicious types of street foods we can find in Korea is making me hungry right now. But to tell you about my favorites would have to be tteokbokki. It's got to be the best street food you'll find anywhere in the world. So tteokbokki is number 1 on my list, and following that would be fried foods, 튀김. But I occasionally do think about how, fried foods aren't exactly healthy, not very good for you. So yeah, I try not to have too much fried foods, but I do love tteokbokki. Sit down with a friend of yours and talk about street foods you can find in Korea. It'll be fun. All right, next time let's continue with the Korean food category and talk about the most exotic Korean foods. Exotic. Let's find out what these two that we'll be talking in our actual talk conversation, let's find out what they mention. What's exotic to them? Okay, that's to come next time. But in the meantime, come to our homepage, everyone. Come on over to www.ebse.co.kr. Look for Actual English, and if you have any messages, post them up. Okay, that is a wrap, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you again next time. Until then, take care and bye for now.